So if you're like me and you spent over $1,000 on a new graphics card like the RTX 3070 series, maybe you're looking to buy the Oculus Link cable. Before you do that, maybe you want to consider some other options. For just a USB-C cable, I think the official Oculus Link cable is extremely expensive. Here in Canada, it cost me about 125 Canadian dollars. And when I bought this QV cable, which is just a random 16-foot cable on Amazon, it only cost $35. So that's 3.5 times cheaper. You can use that money to buy video games, something else with that money. I don't know, just invest it or something like that, because it's extremely expensive. For what you're paying, you're just paying for a 16-foot cable. So I've done a lot of research and I'm trying to find the perfect cable. A lot of people say that cables, these third-party cables, they're just really clunky, heavy, very stiff, but most importantly, very heavy. And I wanted to find a cable that was as close as possible to the Oculus Link cable, because despite the price, the Oculus Link cable is a very nice cable. It's fiber optic, it's very light, it's very bendy, and just very thin. So overall, it's a very impressive cable, just way too darn expensive. And luckily, I just happened to find this one. I was reading so many reviews. This is a cable done by QV. This, in my opinion, based on my experience of having both cables in my hand and playing with both, I find that both these cables share very similar qualities. What I like about the cable is that the QV cable is very light, which is very important if you're playing VR. You don't want like you don't want more weight on your head. It's just very, very distracting. The cable itself is rather thin. It's almost as thin as the Oculus Link cable, which is very impressive. And most importantly, it's 16 feet. In my previous video, I was recommending the Fastgear USB-C to USB-C 10 feet cable. I don't recommend that because it's going to be really tight unless you have your gaming PC or laptop really close to you, and you can achieve that. Maybe the 10 feet is nice because you don't have so many wires to wrangle. But 16 feet is fantastic in my situation. I'm really enjoying this cable. The only con compared to the official Oculus Link cable is that it's a little bit more stiff than the original one, but that's such a minor point. And the other thing is that it uses a USB-A connection towards the end of the PC gaming machine. So if you're running out of USB-A, maybe you wanted to use a USB-C, but you can always buy a converter for that. Now, interestingly, when I ran the performance test or the USB test on the Oculus app, on the PC app, I noticed that I was getting higher gigabits on the Kiwi cable, which is the alternative cable, which is really interesting. Now, I think that could be more attributed to my motherboard. For some reason, my motherboard seems to favor USB-A connections over the USB-C connection. I'm not really sure why that's the case, but this is well over the 500 megabits, so you don't need more performance than that. Both are working flawlessly, and I'm really happy about it. Now, there's one caveat to having this cable. It only works with certain USB-A 3.0 ports on the back of my PC. For some reason, when I plug into some ports, Windows will not recognize the device. It says it malfunctioned and just simply doesn't work. And what's strangely, if I just move it to a certain slot, it'll work. And vice versa, if I plug it into my phone, it wouldn't work. So I need to plug it into the other slot that didn't work for the actual Quest 2. It was kind of weird. So essentially, the TLDR, if you end up buying this cable and it doesn't work on the first pass, make sure you exhaust through every USB-A port. If anyone knows why this is the case, why some USB ports don't support it, please let me know in the comments down below. Anyways, that's it for this video. Let me know what you guys end up buying. Are you going to go buy the official Oculus Link cable, or are you going to be buying an alternative, much cheaper solution?